Are you metabolically healthy? Welcome to Be Fab, Be You Made Simple, your daily dose of inspiration designed to help you reinvent yourself by optimizing your body and mind. I am Maria Horstman, a health editor and coach, a fitness trainer, a speaker, and an entrepreneur, founder of BeFabBeYou.com. Our episodes are short and will bring you valuable content and practical nuggets for optimal health and fitness that you can implement ASAP. Let's get you to feel fabulous every day. Are you ready? Check out the show notes too. 1, schedule a free call with me to discuss a plan to take your health to the next level. 2, submit a question to be featured in our Ask Me Anything episodes on Sundays. Connect with me on social media and much more. Hit the subscribe button, and if you like what you hear, share with your friends and leave it a rating. Are you metabolically healthy? Welcome back to the Be Fab, Be You Made Simple podcast. I am Maria Horstman, the founder of Be Fab, Be You. I'm your host as well. I am glad that you're here because my mission with this podcast is to empower you with valuable content and share practical nuggets for optimal health and fitness so that you can also implement ASAP. So this month's theme is metabolic health. And it will be just awesome because I will share critical information you must know. Yes, must know. This is your health, your now, your future, and your aging process. This is about the quality of aging and even death. Yes, I know we don't like to talk about it. We don't like to think about death, but well, I am a little unconventional. And I do touch upon it once in a while. Why would I do that? Well, it serves as a reminder to all of us that today's choices are tomorrow's well-being as well. Plus, I'm also excited because I have awesome discussion points after been using my CGM for 2 weeks. And your jaw will just drop when I share some of this awesome, exciting data and results, all coming ahead in this month of August. So also let me remind you that I prefer sharing content, and I often omit mentioning studies throughout the stuff, the discussion. So I add the studies and the citations to the transcripts of the episodes. So if that's something that you're interested so go to befabbu.com/podcast to access the transcripts, okay? So in today's episode, we're going to cover the basics of metabolic health so you can answer that question. Am I metabolically healthy? I want you to have a good basic understanding after today's because going forward, like I said, is going to be all about it. We're going to dive into some awesome stuff. So today we're going to talk about what it means, and we're going to focus also on the 6 biomarkers of metabolic health and how we're going to improve this. A few things that you can start doing today. Are you ready? What does metabolic health mean? Well, when we hear all about the word metabolic health, we don't actually know what exactly means. But since we know what metabolism is, we somewhat understand it. And today I'm here to tell you that what we understand from the word isn't its actual meaning. I know, sounds complicated. In fact, poor metabolic health is a huge factor in the increase of heart disease, diabetes, and stroke. And according to the National Cholesterol Educational Program, the actual meaning of metabolic health is the absence of metabolic syndrome. So what is metabolic syndrome? Great question. It is a cluster of conditions, including increased blood pressure or hypertension, high blood sugar levels, excess body fat around the waist and abdominal areas, which is especially when we're talking about visceral fat, that the bad fat that we want to kill it or not have it, much of it, high cholesterol or triglyceride levels. So together, they will increase your risk for cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, stroke, and many, many more health imbalances and problems. So what are these biomarkers related to metabolic health? Every disease has biomarkers that help us to indicate whether we are showing the symptoms of that disease or not. You know, like we go to the doctor, oftentimes, unfortunately, we are not feeling great, but they're trying to get to the bottom of it by doing some testing, right? And unfortunately, sometimes they cannot figure that out. Well, we're going to leave that discussion for another time, okay? But when it comes to metabolic health, it has 6 biomarkers. And if you're showing signs of at least 3 of these biomarkers, you're likely to have metabolic syndrome. So you're going to listen up here. Today, I'm going to explain these 6 important biomarkers so that we get enough knowledge to be able to indicate whether we are suffering from metabolic syndrome or not. Now, keep in mind that having just one of these biomarkers doesn't mean that you have metabolic syndrome. And first and second of all, I'm not here to put a label on you, to diagnose or anything like that, or to treat, right? But an indication of 3 of these metabolic markers or biomarkers, you should kind of take a look into it and talk to a healthcare professional, all right? So first one is waist circumference. Oh God, got a problem over here. Talking about the circumference of your waist, all right? That's another way for me to say it better. You know, we Brazilians. Okay, well, me not talk about all the other Brazilians. Anyway, if you start to gain weight in your waist and your body suddenly starts becoming more like a pear-shaped body, it might be an indicator for metabolic health. For women, 35 inches is the risk factor, and for men is 40 inches in waist measurement. So what you want to do is, if you suspect that your belly is popping out there, I want you to go to a little quick store and buy yourself a measuring tape, maybe $5 or less, definitely less than $5, and measure it, okay, and take charge. And you're going to learn a lot about how to take charge, if we stick with me here. So number 2, blood sugar levels. High blood sugar levels will keep insulin levels up. And you're going to hear me over and over talking about blood sugar, insulin, and a lot more. Now, this hormone, insulin, is responsible for, shuttling that glucose from our bloodstream to our cells. And when the blood sugar levels are elevated, and there's multiple reasons that they will keep elevated, we'll talk more about that, we start damaging cells, organs, blood vessels. So the optimal fasting levels are between 70 and 90 milligrams per deciliter. We cannot disregard glucose numbers during the day, okay, when we're not fasting. And we'll talk more about that too later on. Number 3, triglyceride levels. So blood triglyceride levels are the main, constituent here in fats, right? So they can be measured through a standard lipid panel. And, the levels over 150, which in my perspective here is very, very high, is usually a metabolic disease sign. Whereas, a level under 100 is considered normal. So this triglycerides, there are 3 molecules. And sugar, for example, not only consumption of direct sugar, but really simple carbs and all that can transform into fatty acids too. And that's why sometimes elevated levels of blood sugar are associated with high level of triglycerides. Or you might have high triglyceride levels, but your LDL or total cholesterol be okay. So we'll talk more about that But just know that if you see high levels of triglycerides in your blood work, there's something to look for beyond the fat, okay? Go into the sugar. One of the reasons I love to talk about sugar. Anyway, number 4, LDL cholesterol levels. Yes, though LDL cholesterol levels can also be measured by a standard lipid panel, what concerns the metabolism or metabolism of the body is not the high number on the lipid panel, but rather the pattern of LDL. Yes, you heard me right. It's a pattern. Between patterns A and B, B is your gal or guy to pay attention and test. Normally, it doesn't come on a regular test. You got to ask your doctor. So a pattern B has these small and dense particles, and that is associated, my friend, with elevated triglycerides, blood sugar dysregulation, and type 2 diabetes, and a lot more. So make sure that the patterns of your LDL are checked. Ask your doctor for it. When I asked that the first time many years ago, the doctor says, why? And I says, I want to know. And boy, wasn't I a great person to ask that. Anyway, number 5, blood pressure. High blood pressure is unfortunately very common. But I know that you're listening to this podcast over here is you do not want to be part of that average club, right? I know I'm right. So get yourself a blood pressure cuff if you feel like you're off on and on, or maybe you are overweight, or maybe you were, concerned in some different levels. Know it is not an expensive tool. So you want to stay at or less than 100/80, but not less or lower than 90/60. So you are at risk for metabolic syndrome when one of these two blood pressure numbers are off, okay? That's just to give you some baseline over here. We're not going to get into the details of it right now. Number 6, and one that is not talked much about it when talking to metabolism or metabolic health, is uric acid. Uric acid is what we call as an end product of purine metabolism. And purine plays a vital role actually, as an antioxidant in the body. So overproduction of uric acid through diet heavy in fructose, in foods high in purine such as alcohol, lots of red meat, and even seafood, these things are going to elevate your uric acid. So elevated blood uric acid levels are associated with, you guessed right, metabolic syndrome, inflammation, hypertension, cardiovascular disease, and more. God, that's why one of the reasons I love to run the functional blood chemistry analysis and do a truly review with you or with my clients, and maybe it's you next time, to look at your markers from a optimal level. There is a lot more, but these are 6 biomarkers that I want you to stay on top of it. So why is metabolic health important? Well, if that doesn't give you a clue so far, hello, go back and listen again. Maybe you're not understanding my English here. My accent might be a little too strong for you. Okay, I probably have hinted you over here why this is important, right? Did I say disease, this and that, inflammation, hypertension, all that? Okay, I've said it 1,000 times. But anyway, unfortunately, only 1 out of 8 Americans are metabolically healthy. Are you the one among 8 of your friends or among 7 of your other friends? Who are you? We are particularly interested here in the pathway, okay, to obesity prevention and metabolic health. So we kind of have to explore dietary approaches. We got to explore lifestyle areas beyond nutrition, from exercise to stress levels, sleep quality, even fun, toxification in the body. All this, okay, to do what? To prevent these common diseases. Again, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and many other chronic inflammatory diseases coming from our inflammation, which we're going to get to it in this series. So, in order to have optimal metabolic health, according to a new study, just in case you don't want to believe on me, this study published by the journal Metabolic Syndrome and Related Disorders, men need a waist circumference between, 40 inches or, around 40 inches, right? Get that measuring tape, like I said. And women, below 35 inches. So men below 40 inches, women below 35 inches. Okay. Blood sugar levels below 100 milligrams per deciliter. Blood pressure below 120/80. Triglycerides definitely below 150, please. Okay. I want to say below 100, but it really depends on the total. But anyway, this is important. And, your HDL, which is high density lipoprotein cholesterol, also known as your good cholesterol, right? Greater than or equal to 40 for men and 50 for women. So this is just a little glimpse coming from my study in case you want to, don't believe on me over here. But anyway, I know you believe in me. Yes, you're listening. So there is a lot more to this story, but these are good goals and measurement to thrive for. First, you need to know where you are at today. Do you know? And when was the last time you kind of got checked? I always tell my clients, no, let's start with you checking your blood. Oh, why? Well, because we need to know your starting point. And sometimes we go beyond blood, but we start with the blood, right? And there is a comprehensive list of markers to run. And when I run the functional blood chemistry analysis, you're going to receive an amazing report and recommendations based on really great data. So how to improve metabolic health? Well, one important factor of improving metabolic health is how you feel, how well you sleep, okay, how your mental clarity is like, your overall well-being and sense of happiness. I know, it sounds so basic, right? But sometimes people forget to check in. Don't forget to check in. I'm here to remind you to check in. How do you feel? How are those things in your life? To be able to improve your metabolic health, you need to be able to identify what your goals are. What has made you become metabolically unhealthy, if that's your case? Or if you don't know, great point. Let's get to it. And what changes can you make to be able to become metabolically healthy again? Because your body is made to every cell. The cells don't need to be told what to do. We just need to fuel, F-U-E-L, the cells with the good stuff, okay? And they will do the job. That's their job. They don't need somebody telling you do this. No, they know what to do. And let me tell you this, you will knock many birds, get many results with one stone when you put your body into a state that was designed for. And that state is one of burning fat in a healthy and sustainable way. What? Yeah, burn fat. What? Yes, we're going to knock many birds by just thriving and doing everything that is possible to do that. And how do we do that? Well, a good starting point is to understand, our blood sugar levels and insulin levels. So insulin, being the hormone that controls blood sugar, it lowers blood sugar when the level increases too much due to our food intake or even stress, okay? It also tells our body to store fat instead of burning. I know. It's such an important hormone, but it also tells the body to store fat because it's protective, wants to protect us, right? It's designed to say, hey, let's store over here because we never know when we have to run from the tiger or we might not have food. And so we have to have it in storage. Well, the thing is that we're operating 2021. The body was designed like when it was designed. And when it was designed, there's not this much food going around. So it doesn't know any other way to work but to do this, okay? So let's respect it. Let's know its boundaries, okay? Let's work with it. So if we're trying, to balance our blood sugar level and we release insulin to do that, We do not want our body fighting to try and burn fat at the same time. So by understanding our insulin levels through a blood test, you can do a blood test for that. And that's a simple one to do. We can control our carbohydrate intake. Normally, the carbs are what impacts the most. And we're going to be able to manage our nutrition template, build a nutrition template more appropriate for us so we can manage our blood sugar levels. And consequently, we're going to help to measure our insulin levels and ultimately will lead to improvements in metabolic health. That's one way. But let's say that you want to take action right now and you don't have access to a glucometer to check your blood sugar or a CGM, or the last time you did your blood work, your insulin levels did not get tested, which is normally common, unfortunately. What can you do now? I want you to start with a simple thing, okay? Incorporate more movement to your daily routine. That will do lots for you. And we'll discuss more about other, approaches later. But right now, you can get your behind from your chair or couch and go for a walk. And if you don't have a routine, build one. Mark your calendar to go for that walk, 10-minute walk 2 times a day. You start with 1 time a day only. But, the frequency here is important too. So whether it's walking, hikes, jogging, dancing, playing some sports, swimming, doing yoga, move more, move more and more often. And even if it is in short bouts, like I said. So this is a starting point for you. So in a nutshell, know where you're at and start moving more. And we're going to be talking a heck lot more in the next few episodes. And the next episode ahead, we're going to dive into the 6 biomarkers that I mentioned. And you're going to understand a lot more about them, especially from one specific hormone. Okay? You have a wonderful day. And if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a family and friend. Go to iTunes and leave us a review and a feedback. I would love if you do that. It will help the show to grow and reach other amazing people just like you. Thank you very much and talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to the BFAB Made Simple podcast. Can you do me a favor? If you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend and leave it a rating. It helps the podcast and I really appreciate it. If you're wondering where to start, head over to my website, linked in the show notes, to sign up to receive encouragement, tips, and strategies to maximize results. While you're there, download a free health guide to get you started today. If you're looking for a coach and trainer to help you optimize your weight, body, and health, get on my calendar. Let's discuss your goals, establish a custom plan, implement it, and celebrate your results. Together, we can do this. Find the link to schedule a free energy audit strategy session also in the show notes. Connect with me on social media. I would love for you to let me know that you're listening to the show. Also, see the show notes for the links. In addition to a qualified healthcare practitioner, it's important that you have someone in your corner who is in for you and will help you to plan and stay on track implementing your goals. Are you ready? Let's rock and roll this boat. I will see you on the next episode of BFAB Made Simple. Just a reminder that this podcast is for educational purposes only. This podcast is not a substitute for health care by a doctor or other qualified medical professionals. This podcast is provided on the understanding that it does not constitute medical or other professional advice or services.